Andre, yeah, that's right. International bestseller Steve Barry, known for his exciting thrillers, and they're based on historic characters.
That's right. And in his new novel, The Bishop's Pawn, he tackles the mystery surrounding the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Andy sat down with him to get more.
Well, nobody does history with a twist quite like Steve Barry, and we're talking about the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's assassination. Obviously, to get this book out, you planned ahead.
Oh yes, yeah. I got the idea for the novel about 10 years ago, but I held it and just waited till this year because I knew this was going to be a topic that everyone would be talking about at this point in time, and hopefully, taking another look at it. It's one of the great mysteries of the 20th century that has never been solved and sadly never will be.
Well, what for you as an author, what was the most compelling part of the history?
The unanswered questions. There are a zillion of them. There's so many that were never adequately investigated because basically, the FBI focused on King, on James Earl Ray. They discounted a conspiracy immediately. They discounted any other person being involved in it immediately. They went after one guy only, and they never answered the questions. And they still remain unanswered today. And the novel explores those unanswered questions.
And when we look at where Martin Luther King was emotionally, what other forces were at play?
A lot was going on with him. I mean, he was drinking too much, smoking too much, he'd gained weight. His message of nonviolence was basically not being listened to anymore. There was a complete civil war going on in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. When he gives that speech the night before he dies, he's pretty much a defeated man. And when you listen to the speech, it's amazing because it sounds just like a man who knows he's about to die. And that's really where I got the idea for the novel from, is from listening to the mountaintop speech.
So The Bishop's Pawn, tell me about that.
Well, it's a chess move, obviously, but
right.
it's not in this book. It's something else entirely. I did not want to have King in the title because I figured there was going to be a zillion books out right now that are going to have King in the title. I already have a book that had King in the title, The King's Deception, so I didn't want to do that for that reason. So I wanted a title that was a little bit different. And I knew there'd be an image of Dr. King on the cover so that you'd get the point of what the book was about. And so when you read the novel, you'll know exactly who the bishop is and you know exactly who the pawn is.
And when we talk about the character Cotton Malone, what's different about this book from your other novels is this is in first person. There's a lot of challenges with that.
Very much so. It taxes your ability to plot, first person does, because you've got to put him in every scene. You've got to do everything through his mind. And I usually use 3 to 5 minds, so it's usually a little simpler for me to do. So it was a bit of a challenge, but it was fun, and if the readers like it, I'll do it again. This is the 13th Cotton Malone book, but it will read like the first. We figure out where did Cotton Malone begin, where did his whole career start, and this is it. Every series has an origin story, and this is mine.
And when we talk about the investigation into Dr. King's assassination, there are lots of holes in it. Who investigated? And how was that, and how are they pivotal in this novel?
Well, the FBI did the investigation, which was botched from the start because Hoover already had a preconceived notion of what he wanted to happen. You gotta realize Hoover hated King. It was a pathological, deep hatred of Martin Luther King. And it went way back, and the novel explores that in great detail. The reader's going to learn a lot about that. I wanted to remind people about what happened back then, about what was going on back then. There's a lot going on that we don't know about. We talk about abuses in government today. They are nothing compared to what happened in the 1960s. The counterintelligence unit of the FBI was the most corrupt organization ever created by the American government. Every single person involved in it today would go to prison, including J. Edgar Hoover. So, but they got away with it. They got away with it for, oh my gosh, 15 years. They ruined people's lives. They destroyed people. King particularly, they went after. It's all in the novel. The reader's going to get an education on what happened. It's good we don't forget that.
Mm-hmm. And for you, what is the number one enduring question about his assassination?
Why was he killed? We have no idea. We have no clue. This book attempts to answer that in a very unique way. There's a shocker in the novel because I'm here to entertain you.
We expect that.
Yeah, it's my job to entertain you. But it's a shocker that has some basis in reality, and it's interesting, and hopefully will get you thinking. But I was very respectful to King, very respectful to his message, and the book ends on a very high point.